And now, for the first time on BBC One, My Left Foot.
That's funny.
Marry me 3-5.
There's a body in the library.
Are you seriously trying to tell me that there's a dead body in my library?
Dear, oh dear. She's a blonde, platinum blonde, in our library.
Blimey. The redoubtable Miss Marple.
That's the right word for you, Jane. Redoubtable.
And the body in the library, Saturday at 8:05 on One.
She's wonderful.
BBC Two is off on its travel shortly to show us Orlando's Disney theme park without tears and 3 royal palaces through the keyhole with Lloyd Grossam. They are Hampton Court, Castle Howard and Blenheim Palace. This is BBC One. Now, the news with Martin Lewis. And the time, 9 o'clock.
The Red Cross accuses all factions in the Bosnian Civil War of systematic brutality. The United States demands a special UN investigation to decide if war crimes are being committed. And police believe an alert member of the public helped foil new IRA bomb attacks on central London. Good evening. The International Red Cross says all sides in the Bosnian conflict, Serbs, Muslims and Croats, are guilty of the systematic use of brutality. From the limited opportunities it has been given to inspect their detention camps, it concludes that they are part of a policy of forced population transfers carried out on a massive scale, the so-called ethnic cleansing. And an emergency meeting of the United Nations Human Rights Commission in Geneva turned into a slanging match when the American representative asked if Serbia and Montenegro wanted to go down in history as the last fascist states in Europe. The US is pressing for the Commission to set up a special war crimes investigation.
With the world now listening at the highest level, the Croats came prepared with evidence of alleged mass killings. It's the Bosnians, though, who have most to gain.
As you know, the ethnic cleansing and concentration camps are a reality in Bosnia-Herzegovina. The aggression is destroying our country, so we hope that this meeting will help us to stop the aggression.
Even the Bosnian Serbs were represented. Officially, they have no right to be here, although in reality they hold 70% of Bosnia. The Americans want to reverse that. Their ambassador here, in the New World Order, a friend of the Russian ambassador, was a member of the Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunal after the Second World War. He drafted the resolution proposed today by a government minister.
The policy which its perpetrators chillingly call ethnic cleansing is an abhorrent breach of international human rights standards, as well as the norms of civilized behavior.
The resolution warns of possible war crimes trials and calls for the release of civilians and immediate access to all detention camps, with a special UN investigator appointed to report on abuses within 2 weeks. The Bosnians speak of systematic torture and mass executions.
Women are raped and mutilated. Serbian symbols are carved on their bodies. Mass executions are routine. There are hundreds of massive graves. The Drina River is full of blood.
But the Serb who's taken Yugoslavia's seat here says there are no concentration camps in Bosnia.
To our best knowledge, there existed only prisoners of war camps where 8,251 persons were detained and not 58,810 as alleged by the Muslim side. There were no women and children among the prisoners.
But also in Geneva today, the Red Cross issued an unusually strong statement condemning ethnic cleansing.
Neither in Africa nor in Asia or elsewhere in Latin America we have observed such a systematic and total disrespect and violation of all and any international humanitarian rule in a conflict.
The Serbs, although not condemned by name in this UN resolution, are now clearly in the dock of world opinion. They may be winning the war on the ground, but they've lost this round of the propaganda war. David Loyne, BBC News, Geneva.
A group of UN negotiators says it has bought some time for the 28,000 people, mostly Muslims, who are threatened with expulsion from northern Bosnia. Many of them have been gathered in the border town of Bosanski Novi, but the UN is most concerned about those living in villages where there are few international observers. Our correspondent, Alan Little, has been to Sanski Most, where many of the Muslim population are appealing to be escorted out of the area.
Waiting to be cleansed, the Muslims of Sanski Most are flying white flags from their homes. For the UN official who witnessed it, the symbolism could not be more stark.
The local Serbian officials said it was a sign of loyalty, but it's clear it's a sign of subservience. It was reminiscent of, say, Jewish stars in World War II or pink triangles under the Nazis. It was shocking that the local authorities have just put out the word that you put up a white flag or your home is going to be cleansed.
Many homes have been cleansed already. Those Muslims who remain are frightened and want to leave.
We are all out of work. We have no money. We are hungry. We live in fear. There is curfew. We're not allowed out after 8 p.m. Nobody told us straight to leave, but we have been forced by all means.
This area has been pretty well swept clean, the UN Civil Affairs Coordinator told us, but those Muslims still there will have to stay for now because the UN has decided not to escort them out. UN officials on the ground are sceptical about the effect of the Security Council resolution declaring ethnic cleansing a war crime. It doesn't matter how forcefully you tell the Serbs, one said, it makes no difference to them. Then a discovery that points perhaps to the hidden scale of things. The UN delegation stumbled on a detention camp that no one knew about. 200 Muslim men are held here. They appeared well fed, but, like the Muslim population generally, cowed and afraid. Their Serbian guards did not enjoy the attention. This woman's son is being held at a similar camp at Ripac. It's small, tucked away in an obscure location. Even if the Red Cross gains access to the larger, more notorious places, camps like these are likely to stay beyond the reach of international inspection. The flight of the Muslims continues even at mortal risk. 300 mothers and children arrived in the Croatian port city of Split tonight from the Bosnian capital Sarajevo. They boarded a ferry for Rijeka, the latest in an exodus that has already reached proportions unprecedented in post-war Europe and which will probably get worse. Alan Little, BBC News, Zagreb.
Milan Panic, the Prime Minister of what remains of Yugoslavia, visited Sarajevo today, but the Bosnian president wouldn't see him. An American journalist travelling from the airport in Mr. Panic's convoy was shot dead by a sniper. The British Foreign Office Minister Douglas Hogg was also in the Bosnian capital as part of preparations for a forthcoming peace conference in London.
The momentum of war in Bosnia has defeated every attempt to start a realistic peace process. Douglas Hogg came here to prepare for the latest last chance, the peace conference to be held in London this month. The visit made it clearer than ever that Mr. Hogg and his colleagues will have to work diplomatic miracles to save the London conference from failure.
Oh, is this for the benefit of the television? Yeah, it is true. Well, it's very nice.
Alija Izetbegović, the Bosnian president, is not interested in compromise. He believes his people are fighting for their lives. He's often compared their position to Britain's in 1940. President Izetbegović wants decisive foreign intervention or heavy weapons. They showed Mr. Hogg the damage Serbian shelling has done to the Bosnian government's headquarters, but Mr. Hogg told them they wouldn't get what they wanted.
I explained very clearly to them that there was no cavalry over the hill. There is no international force coming to stop this. That being so, in the absence of discussions and a ceasefire, the killing will go on, and I made that very plain to the President, and I believe he understood it.
But after he left, the Bosnians repeated their opposition to any direct negotiations with the Serbs who are besieging the city. The problem is that Mr. Hogg wants the Muslim-led Bosnian presidency to negotiate with Serbs they regard as war criminals. The Bosnians ask why they should trust people who shell civilians in Sarajevo and who are trying to drive Muslims out of large areas of the Republic. There was another attempt at dialogue in Sarajevo today which went disastrously wrong. Milan Panic, Prime Minister of the state which now calls itself Yugoslavia, invited himself to the city. An American journalist traveling with Mr. Panic was killed by a sniper.
These are crippled people, mentally ill. killing people like this. Do you think you'll ever be...
Mr. Panic wasn't received by the Bosnian president, a fact he denied.
He did not refuse to see me. Please stop. This is a very touchy moment for you, and you are not going to provoke me with a foolish question.
Before today, Mr. Panic wasn't taken very seriously as a peacemaker. He has even less credibility now. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Sarajevo.
The UN Security Council has just begun debating a resolution which would authorize military action, if necessary, to protect the supply of aid to Bosnia. If it's adopted, it'll be the first time the UN has sanctioned the use of force in a humanitarian mission. The resolution authorizes all necessary means to protect the aid convoys, but does not detail how it should be organized.
So cautious is the UN and most of its members about intervening in Bosnia that today's Security Council session to vote on help for the aid operation was delayed by last-minute haggling. This is despite the fact that the two resolutions will not mean an immediate use of force.
Just remember this is not a resolution which is prescribing the use of force. It is merely a resolution which is authorizing it as a last resort.
For the Bosnians, though, this isn't nearly enough, and their ambassador appealed for weapons to save his country, not just aid for its people.
I think there are some that are more inclined to deal with Band-Aid approaches, and I'm afraid that these approaches may end up with the patient on the operating table, supposedly to help him, but eventually dismembered.
But so far, help for the aid convoys is as much as anyone is prepared to offer. This attempt to get supplies to Gorazda was ambushed by Serbian guerrillas. Landmines crippled the convoy, but future attempts may now have more protection, though the details of that are still to be agreed. Also to be settled are the contributions of Britain and other countries to this plan. Though British medics have been deployed in Croatia, a decision on whether other British forces should go to Bosnia as well probably won't come till next week. The Liberal Democrat leader Paddy Ashdown, just back from Bosnia, suggested what was needed.
It means a greater number of armoured personnel carriers. It probably means some pretty limited helicopter capacity to be able to fly above the convoys if necessary, and it probably means some troops on the ground.
NATO headquarters in Brussels has been the focus for much of the planning of this, and a meeting there tomorrow will review the precise options for safeguarding